You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about propaganda, but for this episode is about the band Agassiz. Agassiz is an instrumental trio consisting of Derek Hogue on drums, Ryan Nash on bass, and David Guillas on guitar. David and Ryan are here on the podcast to do a track-by-track breakdown of Agassiz's new record, Pulse 1D. The record was engineered and mastered at Private Ear in Winnipeg with past guest of the podcast, J.P. Peters, and it was mixed by Chris Hanna. Obviously, David was in propaganda for many years and played on the supporting cast in Failed States LPs. This is Ryan's third time on the podcast after appearing on the This Might Be Satire and Panorama episodes. And for those who don't know, Derek Hogue worked at G7 Welcoming Committee, co-hosted Escape Velocity Radio with Chris Hanna, and also drummed in the Winnipeg band Silence Equals, who appeared on the 1995 7-inch compilation Systematic Destruction, which featured I Spy, Malfaction, and Propaganda. This is a wonderful treat to feature this track-by-track breakdown with Ryan and David from Agassiz, so please enjoy our conversation. Ryan Nash and David Guillas, welcome to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about, well, for today, Agassiz, but usually about propaganda. But it's great to have you both here, so thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So glad you guys are here. Ryan, you've been here a couple times on the podcast in the past, once talking about Agassiz and Chris Hanna's cover of Panorama by Voivod, and another talking about This Might Be Satire from How to Clean Everything. And I'm delighted to welcome you back for the third time. But Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell listeners out there who you are and what you do, just so they have a little reminder.
Yeah, I'm playing bass in Agassiz, and happy to be back for. Is this really the third time?
Third time.
Wow, I'm becoming a podcast expert here.
It's wonderful. It's so great. And Dave, how about you? Go ahead and remind the listeners out there who you are.
Yeah, I'm David. Friends call me Beeve. I play guitar in Agassiz. You have a balloon floating behind you. I love it.
I do, yeah. So my cats absolutely love helium balloons, and so I just put a couple of helium balloons in random spots around my house. So because they use the string as toys whenever I'm not home and stuff. So if you see a cat attacking that helium balloon, they're playing with the string behind us, and it's just extremely entertaining. So I hope you guys get to see it because
that's a really good idea. I might have to borrow that idea. I just got a new cat actually.
Get a helium balloon because the string that attaches to the balloon, they fray it over time. You can see it.
There they go. Yeah.
She loves it. So that's Eleanor back there, and she loves the helium balloon, and she just plays with the little thread, and the thread is pretty durable, even with their little claws. So definitely try out the helium balloon trick. It's a good time. All right. So you are both here because, as you both said, you're in Agassiz, Beeve on guitar, Ryan on bass, and you have a brand new record out called Pulse 1D, which came out a few weeks ago, less than a month ago, as of this recording in January 2024. It came out on December 8th, 2023, and I just wanted to congratulate you both on the release of this fantastic record. I've been enjoying it tremendously, and quite a few of my friends on the Propaganda podcast Discord that I run have also been enjoying it, and there have been wonderful comments in relation to the record on Chris Hanna's Patreon because he was involved. So I'm super pumped to talk about this, and I kind of want to know about the origin of the record to begin with. I'm not really sure what your writing process is like as a band, and Beeve, I'm wondering if you maybe want to start this one, but tell me a little bit about the origin of this record and kind of how the riffs and the songs started coming together.
I suppose the origin is the same as with all of our releases. Just we get together in the jam space. We jam once a week-ish. Kind of work the songs out. For this release, maybe Ryan's memory is better, but this is going back 2 years. We've been working on some of these songs. So some of the songs feel really old actually, because we've been working on them for so long. But that's just basically it. I'll bring in a riff or a series of riffs, and then the three of us work on them over time, and that's it. It's not rocket science.
A lot of the stuff kind of starts with Dave will send us a riff or something on his phone or on our phones, and he'll often sort of just like make up like a little bit of a demo track for like a riff or a couple of riffs that go together. Then I'll usually, me and Derek will kind of like try to figure out how to play it, which usually is easier said than done. Yeah, and then we'll just get together in the practice space and just feed off each other, just kind of work on stuff till we're happy with it.
Would you say this is one of a pretty organic band? Like Dave, you don't bring full compositions to the band. It's kind of like an idea here, an idea there, and then you guys like organically bring it together. Is that kind of how the band that tends to operate more?
Yeah, although I mean, the way I work at home, I tend to want to just like, I have this kind of compulsion to want to do as much as I can because I just really enjoy that kind of process.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'll bring a string of riffs that's kind of like almost like a song, but I'm never married to it. There's always like back and forth, and so there's been some songs that have been like that. Others might just be a riff or two, and then the three of us together will kind of work things out.
So Ryan, you mentioned Derek as the rhythm section, you and Derek Hogue. It's a really special bond the two of you seem to have in this band and on this record. Like you two really shine together as a rhythm section. When Beef sends riffs to you guys, like what is the relationship like with you and Derek as far as like figuring out your ends in the rhythm?
It's usually just time and just trying to be creative. Like oftentimes I'll just kind of like, it depends. Like sometimes, the riffs will come with like a sort of like some sort of a drum beat in the background. Like I think Dave's kind of coming up with stuff and he's got an idea of kind of, okay, he's hearing something in his head. And, but it's funny how much it changes. You know what I mean? Like he'll send the drum beats and, I just write stuff to it sitting on my couch. Oftentimes, just sitting in my sunroom with the cat and the bass and my phone and, trying to come up with an idea. I don't know. I feel like on this one, I was trying more to, I'm trying to be more of a bass player these days is what I'm trying to say. Because I come from the guitar realm. So I'm always trying to kind of like scrutinize what I'm doing and being like, okay, is this a bass line? Is this a guitar line? Yeah, me and Derek, I don't know. We just kind of do our thing and it just, it all seems to fall into place. We don't really talk about it too much. We don't really like think about it too much beforehand until we're kind of in the thick of writing the song. And then we just kind of play it, record it in the jam spot, think about it. Yeah. Derek's a really easy drummer to play with. So it's not, I don't really have to think too much about what we're doing. It just kind of happens, And
maybe I'll add to that. I think there's a trust that over time, like Ryan mentioned, over time, there's a trust that things will be worked out. Things will be ironed out. Like there's not an immediate need to like hammer something into shape right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, as an observer of the rhythm section in the room there, seeing Ryan and Derek work together, what I notice is so Ryan as a player is I find super free. Just things kind of come. Like Ryan, you kind of just come up with things on the spot, and then we'll play through a song again, and just other things come, and you're just constantly playing like that and flowing in a way that I think I'm too uptight to allow myself to go there, but I appreciate that about you. And then Derek's really good at just hearing the big picture. And every once in a while you can tell he's thinking, And then every once in a while he'll chime in with a thought about how you guys can coordinate or how maybe we need to just ditch a guitar part or whatever it is. So I think that's kind of part of the mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Derek's definitely like the, it's funny because in my other band, Agapito, that I was in, which is no longer, but our drummer was always, we used to joke that he was the arranger. So it's like we'd come up with all these riffs, and then our drummer Mike would be like, no, we got to put this one here and this one there. And that's like, I feel like there's like an element of that. Like Derek he's very big picture. Like whenever we're writing songs, like we'll get like a couple of months into it, and then like Derek will be like, we got to scrap this whole song and we got to start again or something like that.
It's not working. Or this whole last half isn't working. So let's just rethink it.
He's like the brains behind the operation in some ways. You know what I mean? Like he's like I feel like the buck stops with Derek in some regards.
Have you guys scrapped a lot of songs over like the last 4 or 5 years?
No, I don't think so. Maybe a couple.
Nice.
Or so parts, maybe like sections and parts of songs, certainly.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, because what I was thinking about is like the way that, you know, a song you can have different parts that you're playing together, and then you realize in real time that like one part is not working, so then you kind of remove it, but then it gets repurposed later on in a different song. Like I feel like bands are constantly moving those puzzle pieces around where they're trying to make two parts work together, but then they realize it isn't working, so they replace one of the parts, but then they repurpose the other one in a totally different song, and it winds up being exactly what it was always meant to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we've
love
definitely
that.
done that. We've definitely put some stuff on the shelf, and then we'll come back to it months later, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were these songs on this new record, were they 100% done before you went into the studio to make it completely done? Like did you have like really solid demos in like totally taken shape before you went to the studio and committed that all to the record?
Uh well, yeah, actually this was the first record that we demoed beforehand. Um Usually we just kind of do like iPhone recordings and stuff like that, but this one we actually came over to my place and demoed it in my basement, and like kind of did like a version of the record before we went into the studio.
Mm.
Um but yeah, mostly no, we're kind of pressed for time usually when we go into the studio. Like we usually only get we kind of book a few days in a row. So it's usually only a couple of days, so we're trying to kind of like get in there, get it recorded. There was I think maybe this one more so than some of the other ones. There was a lot more experimentation in the studio and kind of like adding stuff. Like Dave was adding a lot of like acoustic guitar parts. We had a piano
Yes, I
part.
noticed that.
Yeah. So like a
Nice.
lot of that stuff was I mean, I'm sure Dave, maybe you can talk more about that, but like it was kind of planned out in advance, but a lot of it really kind of came together in the studio. So that was the first I had even heard a lot of those parts.
Yeah.
So it was,
Like you said, when we go to the studio, we're always just there for 2 days. And so it's kind of, we have to be ready. The songs have to be done. And then, but this time I think we were pretty ambitious. At least I was with the guitar overdubs. I selfishly wanted a double track. And then like Ryan said, there was even a triple track. Like if there's a couple songs have an acoustic guitar in there and another song has a third guitar up the middle, that kind of stuff. So
the ongoing thing I think with us is like, how do we record our band? You
Yeah.
know, like it's a 3-piece. We kind of do everything live off the floor. And like I think on our first record, it was mostly just it was just like guitar based drums. There was no like real extra guitar parts or anything added in. And then I feel like as we've kind of made more records, you know, the desire is there to just kind of like make it more of a record, you know. So there's, you know, second guitar parts coming into play, acoustic guitar parts, you know, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's weird because when you're only a 3-piece, right? So it's like then when you get into the studio, it's like now all of a sudden you can have like 10 arms if you want to. You can add as much stuff as you want. You don't want to go overkill because we still think about playing it live, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like where the music has gone in terms of like adding a second guitar part. This acoustic stuff was awesome for me.
Nice.
One record we did some synth stuff on it.
Oh, sweet.
yeah.
Ryan, what was your gear rundown for the studio?
Gear rundown. What did I use? I had actually I simplified the previous record. I used a Galen Kruger. It's not even my bass amp. That's how dedicated I am to playing bass. I don't even own a bass amp. It's I think it's a 400 RB. It's called. It's a solid state bass amp. And last album I kind of split. I did like the solid state amp and an old Marshall guitar head.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I kind of just pared it down. I'd like a cleaner sound on this record, so it was just the 400 RB. I think that's what it's called. I'm probably gonna check afterwards and realize that I'm totally. But I just play a P bass, and I think that we went through maybe a Mesa 412 guitar cab and a Ampeg 15-inch speaker.
Sweet.
And I don't really use a lot of pedals or anything. I kind of leave that up to Dave. So,
Well, Dave,
but,
tell me. Dave, tell
go
me a little
ahead.
bit about your gear rundown.
First of all, I've never been called Dave this much since I was in high school.
Sorry,
I've
Dave.
I decided that I'm going to start calling you Dave, if that's okay with you, Dave.
It's like, who are you talking to me? So for the one guitar, the guitar I used to kind of play live off the floor. It's my 7-string that I built, and then that's through my Marshall 800 and just some pedals, a bunch of pedals. And then for the second guitar track on the other side, same guitar, but I went through my my garnet. Oh, I forget what kind of garnet I have.
Isn't it a Pro 200 or something?
Something like that. I forget. It's heavily modded. It's like it's almost like not even a original garnet anymore. It's been so heavily like refinished or whatever. Just to get a slightly different tone. I also use my guitar I have that I built that has a Bigsby and P90 pickups, just in songs where I kind of wanted that flavor.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it.
Do you guys know what Derek was playing through for the drums?
I think he used a Vistalite kit.
I don't
for
know.
parts, was it? Oh no, maybe it was an old Oh no, you know what? It was an old Ludwig kit that belonged to the studio. I remember because it's actually the same drum kit my uncle has. It's like it looks like the old Ringo Starr kit. It's got like the I forget what that finish is called. It's something like clamshell or something like that.
David, do you have any fun stories of working with JP on this particular record?
I just really enjoy working with JP. It's been a number of times now that I've worked with him, and he's just his attitude. He's such a positive guy, but just knows his stuff, and he's so efficient in the studio, and comes from the same kind of scene that we all come from. We've known him for a long time.
Decades, right?
Yeah, decades. So it's just a nice experience. I can't imagine ever recording with someone else. And his setup that he's got at Private Ear Recordings is it's a nice place, and he makes killer coffee.
Nice. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I love recording with JP. It's awesome. Just generally speaking, like the studio that we record at Private Ear, it's just for me, it's like going back to like my first bands. I think maybe not my first band, because I don't think we actually recorded in a studio because we were a bunch of 14-year-old kids. But yeah, I've been recording. I always remark, because there's a console there, that it's like I think I recorded my first real record on that console back in like 2000, and it might have been 2000, it might have been 99 even. This old Neotech console. But so yeah, it's always cool going there, and I think it's just one of those things. Now we've done so many recordings with him that it's like it's kind of like when you see an old buddy for the first time in a long time. It's like you just kind of like boom, you just fall right back into it. It's like you just came back from like hanging out with them last week or something.
Yeah.
It's like we just it's very comfortable,
Nice.
And which is awesome because we don't spend a ton of time in the studio, so it's nice to have a place that you're comfy with, so you can go there and just kind of like jump right into it and feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who addressed this question to, but I was looking at the artwork for the record earlier, and I absolutely love the cover art. And I'm wondering if you guys can maybe tell me a little bit about like what the cover art for this record kind of symbolizes to you, and kind of why this artwork was chosen.
I think Derek's always the one. He's sort of our guy for the visuals, usually for song titles too. And I'm not sure where he finds these images. He's for all of our records. And this one, I believe, is a satellite image of the Mackenzie River Delta, like up in Northwest Territories, I think. And I think we just, well, for me anyways, because our previous ones, everything's got kind of like a glacial theme, or like a geologic sort of thing going on. And this one, and then the other ones previously were more sort of cool in their vibe, like tones, like blues, and it's just really kind of icy. And this one was green, which I thought just for me, it just felt like, well, it's a bit of a shift. It's kind of more implying growth instead of like frozen death.
Oh, interesting.
That's a good analogy there. I like that.
I love it. Well, let's get into the tracks a little bit. So we've got this opening track, Greenway Chorus. Which it just starts you. It's just a pummeling starter. It's booming. It's got a heavy riff. It's nice and like it's got this like slow trudging tempo. And then it like picks up speed a little bit. It's got this lovely mid-tempo feel that kind of reminds me of bands like Sam I Am and Hot Water Music a little bit at times. So Dave, tell me a little bit about what you enjoy about this opening track.
Yeah, you know, when I was working on the riffs for that song and thinking about my guitar contribution to that song, I was actually listening to a lot of Sugar at the time. And I was kind of inspired by Bob Mould's guitar sound. First of all, it's so thick and mid-rangey and distorted. But also just he's such a melodic writer. And so, I mean, I don't think that Greenway chorus ended up sounding anything like Sugar, but that was kind of like in the background for me, what was sort of influencing me. And for me, the highlight of that song is the end. It was, as often happens, we had a different ending for that song. And then Derek was just like, yeah, it's not working. What can we do here? And usually the way I write is I just want to go home and be alone and come up with something. Mm-hmm. I'm not really good on the spot, but we actually just on the spot right then and there started jamming and came up with the riff. And Ryan is kind of messing around and, you know, in his free style way that he often has. And then I don't know if you remember, Ryan, but so in that last part, you ended up hitting a bass note that's kind of not part of the same chord as what I'm playing. And it just, this like, it just adds, it makes that, because I'm just playing a basic power chord there, but then you add like a different root or whatever. And it just creates this really lush, big, and that for me, that's just the highlight of that song. I love that moment. And it all happened in the moment. It wasn't, you know, there was no thought involved. We were just kind of playing around together. And I'd love to do more of that in the future, right? Like that, where it's just like, what can happen in the moment, you know?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite songs, I think, that we wrote on this record. And it was partly that. Like, it was like, it just kind of came together. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, we kind of, you're right. We jammed on it a few times. We weren't happy with the ending. And we were just kind of like feeding off the riff and each other, I think. And we just came up with that in the spot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I just remember the feeling, just like, oh my God, like we're onto something here. And it's just,
I remember that. Yeah. I remember,
so good.
I remember you being like, you're like, whatever you just played right there, just record that. I remember I recorded it on my phone, like instantly. I'm like, okay, I don't want to forget that. Yeah. It was cool. It was, you're right. It was kind of like a weird counterpoint thing.
Yeah.
I like writing that way too. Yeah. Like where it's like, you almost have like half the book is written, but there's like this little bit that where you have to just kind of like, like be free in the moment and just kind of like let the song, I don't know. For me, I'm kind of like, I write a lot of stuff, and maybe that's one of the reasons why this band works so well. But I find like, like sometimes we just put the three of us in a room together, and for whatever reason, we would just like, we come up with stuff that I'm so happy with, you know, which is rare for me in a band situation. I find like, because I'm very much like you were saying there, Dave, where it's like I like to get an idea and then I kind of go home and develop it on my own usually.
Yeah.
But for some reason with the three of us, like oftentimes I'll come up with ideas for bass parts anyway, and it's like, I'm almost more inclined to just wait till I'm with you guys and then try to come up with something there. Yeah.
That's such a cool, spontaneous like feel though, you know, it's a pretty special vibe.
Yeah. And it's nice we have it documented now too. You know, that's the joy of making a record is it's a snapshot or a documentation of this moment that we shared together.
Well, and that's why I love recording conversations like this about songs and about records, because it, you know, gets the people to talking about the specific moments that really stand out for them in the creative process. Like, that's why I love having conversations like this.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because this is stuff that I never think about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Until after, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's chat about, do you guys know what the title means? Does the title have any particular significance? I know you said Derek names the songs, which I'm like, oh darn it, now I'm feeling the void of Derek's absence even more.
I was thinking about this. Sorry, to jump in. I wondered if you might ask about the titles, and I think Derek might agree with me here that maybe we won't talk about where we got the title names from, because I feel like the title names are almost like an invitation and maybe like a sort of a guidance into the song. But I think if we explain where they come from or what they mean, it might just kind of like, you know, let's let the music kind of do its thing and
don't spoil the mystery. Huh?
Yeah,
love it. Totally fine with me. Let's go to track 2. It's called can one of you guys pronounce this for me? Is it Dwindling Secula?
Or Secula.
Secula. Okay, cool. Okay, so Ryan, let's start with you this time. Tell me a little bit about what you love about Dwindling Secula as a tune on this record.
Well, it's funny, like all the songs for me, in a way, it's almost like one, like every batch of songs is almost like one big song to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though they get written over a period of, quite some time or whatever. But I don't know. It's hard for me to like pick out like what each individual song means to me. It's almost like I come up with there's my parts and then there's the song as a whole. It's hard to pin it down.
It's almost like a 27-minute long song, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the whole thing, and a lot of this writing this record, like 2023 was a weird year for me. Like my mom had a heart attack, and I had to put my cat down, who was 19. So I was in kind of this weird headspace a lot of times. And I always find that really interesting because with the way that like Dave writes the songs, I'm sure he's got something else going on in his head, and there's like an element of, like me doing my own thing and like my parts maybe reflect that, I guess, in a way. But it's hard to go back and think about the headspace that I was in when I wrote some of those parts. But I just know that every one of these songs, and it's funny because Dave was sending me some new riffs yesterday, and it's like
no rest.
Every time he sends me riffs, I'm like, this is the best riff I've ever heard. I love this song. Like the demos, I love the demos. I almost want to like release some of those demos.
You should.
Like, I love these little demos. Like he just makes these really great little demos of the riffs or whatever.
I mean, I think you guys should release the demos because I'm a completist and I want to hear them. So that's just me. You can release it for an audience of one.
I have a feeling they will never get. Yeah. I have a feeling they will never get released.
That's fine.
You never know.
I have a feeling too.
Yeah, Dave. What do you like about Dwindling Secula?
There's a really awesome moment in that song for me. I was getting close to about 2 minutes in. I'm doing just kind of like an arpeggio, nothing special on its own there, kind of like a climbing arpeggio thing. And Ryan and Derek start out kind of in like a supporting role, just sort of rhythmic. But then Ryan, partway through, starts meandering on his bass, kind of up, and just takes over the melody. And it's just so beautiful to me. I listen to it and I can't even imagine how.
That was another one we did it just in the jam spot, I think.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. But you had mentioned how, like, what you go through kind of influences what you create. And I thought that was really well said. You had a tough year and that kind of impacted, because that part you added up high in the bass is just so sad and beautiful. And I just, every time I listen to it, it's just, I love it.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, I mean, to me, honestly, the bass is what stands out the most for me as a listener for this song, and huge parts of it, because it's got this like bass riff that's like super chunky and like reminds me of like Quicksand records and stuff like that. And it's like really upfront and almost feels like the lead instrument because it's like driving that riff while Dave kind of fills in the spaces off in the distance, almost, it feels like. But then the middle of the song has this just fantastic drumming, super driving tempo. It's got this great buildup, and then it drops in at like 2:30, and then it hits super hard, like 2 minutes and 50 seconds into the song. And for me, knowing you guys, and having seen Ryan, I've never seen you live, but we've met in person. So like I have this like personal thing where I can like picture you in real life. And I was just like, in this moment from the 2:50 in the song, when you guys really start going hard on this tune, I was just envisioning watching you guys play this live. And it was just like this really cool experience of having the music wash over me, but also kind of knowing you guys and have like imagining seeing this part of the song live. And like, I really would love to see this one. I feel like it would be such an awesome live journey as a tune.
Yeah. I think, do I use some effects in this one, don't I?
that where you're using your wah in the
Yeah.
middle section? And that's when I'm kind of oscillating on the delay pedal.
Yeah. That's me trying to keep up with you on the pedal front. Like, I gotta do something. I can't just be playing clean bass all the time.
Okay, so let's chat about the next one. We've got this little interlude song, Small White Sun.
Oh, I love this one.
It's more of it's kind of like an intro to a transition to Infinite Vault than like a song, but I would love to know about like kind of what I'm hearing. So, Dave, tell me a little bit about what we're hearing with Small White Sun.
Yeah, I did that at home, so that wasn't done in the studio.
Mm.
And the intention was it would be sort of a companion to the next song, Infinite Vault. So I think I was just really enjoying the vibe of Infinite Vault, how we kind of just settle into this almost droney, just like we're not in a hurry to get anywhere with that song. And it just felt like I wanted more of that. So I just messed around at home with some of the chords that are in Infinite Vault, just kind of playing around with volume swells and running through my pedal board with different like delay effects and whatnot. And I just recorded that at home, and that's just what we kept. The other Ryan and Derek were generous enough to want to include it with the other batch of songs.
How did you record it? Like, what software did you use? Do you remember?
I just use GarageBand.
Man, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
DIY. We're DIY.
Yeah. For me,
it has so much power too.
And for me, GarageBand is kind of like an extension of like when I first started back in the 90s, when I got my hands on a little 4-track recorder. Oh my God, that thing like saved my life. I could not. I just loved it so much. Ryan, you probably have a similar story. And then that upgraded. Yep. At one point, I ended up getting like a digital 8-track. But like,
is that the one you still have now?
No, that one I bought a cassette 4-track. No, I bought that like 10 years ago or so.
Oh.
But I just kind of love that. And it's digital, of course, but it's just like I didn't go out and buy any special software. It's just like what you get when you get a Mac.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an extension of that for me. Like, why do I have to go out there and spend all this money? Like, what can I do with what I have?
Dude, I've made 500 podcast episodes on GarageBand.
Yeah.
It's not an exaggeration, 500 over the last like 7 years. And I've never moved on because it just does exactly what I need it to do. You know what I mean? And it's like work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Ryan, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Small White Sun.
It's another one of those things where I'll just get I'll get like a text, and they'll be like, hey, what about this? And there'll just be this guitar track in there that I'm just like, I just sit in my sunroom and I listen to it, and my brain just melts. I love the idea of on instrumental records specifically. I love the idea of like little interludes and like little vibes and little moods that you can kind of pop in there. Yeah, it's very much like a mood setting thing for me. It's just like a really cool creative guitar riff that just like it puts me in a dream state almost.
Yeah. It's really funny because I've listened to this record several times, like when I've been like running or something. So I'm not like looking at the track listings, and I did not realize this was a standalone track until yesterday. So I was like writing all these notes that I was gonna like wanted to ask you guys about, and I was like, oh, what do they think about the performance of Small White Sun? And I was like, oh, wait a minute, today it's like I had this realization like, oh, this is totally something separate. Okay. So that was my little realization that this isn't that this is like a standalone little piece and not like the outro of Dwindling Sacula, which is what I thought it was originally. All right, it's a nice little reprieve. It's a nice little reprieve from the pummeling riffs from some of the other stuff. All right, so Ryan, I want to hear your thoughts on the next track, Infinite Vault. Tell me some of your, favorite memories or thoughts about this one.
Every time we play this song, I think about the infinite or like the isn't there like there's like a seed vault somewhere where they keep all the
Oh yeah,
seeds.
Mm-hmm.
that's in
I don't think that's what it's
Svalbard.
named. Yeah. Like I don't think that really has much to do with the song or anything. But for some reason, that's the mental picture that I get whenever I play this song. I just think about like the end of the world. They're cracking into this like seed vault because we fucked it all up.
That's
You know, that's my vibe. Oh, I feel like there's with almost like with all of our songs, there's like the sense of like not like dread or like, but yeah, this is like this feeling that you're just kind of like watching the collapse of everything, you know. And that those vibes are strong on this song for me.
nice. David, what about you? Tell me a little bit some of your favorite thoughts about Infinite Vault that spring to mind.
Yeah, yeah, like Ryan's. Yeah, I feel the same as Ryan. There's kind of like I think it's just a matter of our day-to-day lives, just this feeling of impending doom. So I mean, that's going to of course come across in how we write and create. But I think there's also like a real effort. I mean, for example, the last song is called "Ball Work Against Time and Despair,"
Mm-hmm.
and so thinking about that, because I think, I mean, that title is self-explanatory to a degree.
Yeah.
You don't want to just live in doom and apocalypse thinking all the time, because that's not going to get us anywhere. And plus, I wouldn't mind having a decent life while I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you're also kind of grasping for the beauty that's there, and so I wrote about this. But Infinite Vault, Derek actually suggested that we think of, when we were writing the song, think of it as a walk through a meadow, and make sure we don't ever leave the meadow. And so for me, that's what I imagine. Like maybe we're surrounded, like there's dark clouds everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like there's like Mordor is over there somewhere, but for now we're walking through this meadow, and nothing else matters.
Yeah, that resonates too, because I was enjoying the lighter, almost like a playful, delicate tone and feeling to this song. So that kind of rings true for me too as a listener. It's very pretty as well. It's like some of your prettiest stuff in my view is this tune.
Mhm.
Nice.
I'll take pretty.
What, Ryan?
I said I'll take pretty. I like a pretty song.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who doesn't love a pretty song once in a while? And just goes to show like the variety of what you guys are making too. Like you guys are, coming from punk bands and like, post-hardcore bands and stuff like that in your past. And it's kind of like a opening up of your own musical talents and skills across like both of your like recording repertoires, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that about Agassiz, that it's like I feel like I get to delve into kind of like just like different areas of music that I like. Like I listen to a lot of softer music and like older music and weird prog rock and acoustic music and jazz and old funk records and R&B and Motown and stuff. And it's like I feel like all of that somehow finds a way into Agassiz. Like there's like bass lines that I do, and like I'll hear things in the guitar and I'm just like I feel like I'm at my most creative when in this band, like I don't feel like kind of pigeonholed into like writing a certain way. And it's like, yeah, you can just kind of like follow your heart and just like explore that softer side of music, which is great for me because I spent a lot of time playing in more like rampaging bands, I suppose, and I still love doing that.
Of course.
But and it's almost like I almost feel like there's an element of like that in Agassiz sometimes too. Like I think that's one thing with instrumental music. Like when you take the vocals out of it, all of a sudden there's just so many possibilities. You can touch any area, and there's nothing that's off limits in terms of like how you can play or what you can write. I love that.
Well, and I have to comment on that too. I know I'm going to jump forward and I'm going to skip a song for a second, but if you think about a song like Bulwark Against Time and Despair, the closer on this record, that guitar riff feels extremely special to me. It feels timeless. Like it feels like that riff could be on a Thin Lizzy record. It could be on an Alice in Chains record. Chris Hanna on his Patreon said it feels like it has like, it almost could be like on a Tragically Hip record. And so I love the fact that you're commenting on bringing in multiple influences from, across many genres of music, because I'm picking up on that as well. Because like when I was listening to Bulwark Against Time and Despair, I was like, man, this riff could be from any era of rock music, and it just kind of clicked with me in that regard, like of the vastness of where this riff could be found on different records across many genres.
I'm already getting inspired to write more songs right now here.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Get you guys reflecting and making you eager to keep creating. Okay, let's go back for a second. David, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the next song, Ersatz Memory.
You mentioned a while back that the album feels kind of like one song, and I think that was kind of the intention. It's just having it feel like when you listen to the songs together, there's some kind of narrative arc happening, or at least there's some kind of thought put into like what comes next. And I like how this one comes in, like right off the bat, it's just a big chord. After the like, how many minutes? 6-8 minutes of kind of quiet meanderings, and all of a sudden, bam, we're back.
Yeah.
I really like that, the feel of that, and yeah, this opening riff, I remember at the time, I was just listening to a lot of Tom Petty for some reason. And
I love Tom Petty.
And that riff, that opening riff, was me trying to write like Tom Petty, funny enough. And I think that's kind of speaks to the benefits of not getting too good at guitar. Because if I really sat down and tried to write, tried to rip off Tom Petty, then it would have just sounded like Tom Petty. But because I am deficient in certain abilities to just sit down and figure something out, me trying to figure out Tom Petty ended up in this thing that sounds nothing like, I hope, nothing like Tom Petty.
It's funny, actually. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, a buddy of mine who's in a band who had like writer's block, and he was just like, I don't know how to like, and I was like, just try learning somebody else's song, you know. Like, I don't know. I find like every once in a while, I don't do that a lot, but like every once in a while, I'll just like go on this like hunt of like, you know, learning some of like my favorite riffs from different songs that I'm listening to at the time. And I do the same thing. I screw them all up. I totally do not learn. And I almost like never actually learn the riff, but it's just like, it puts a guitar in my hand or a bass in my hand, and it'll like just give me a starting point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. And then it almost inevitably turns into a new song. Like
you accidentally write a new song. Yeah.
And it makes me feel a little bit guilty, because I'm like, am I biting somebody else's creativity right now? But it's like, no, it's always so different. And I've read about other artists doing that too, where it's like they'll try to like learn somebody's riff, and it just like inspires this totally new thing, you know.
Art begets art. Absolutely.
Someday we'll get sued for plagiarism, and they'll come back and watch this interview, and they'll be like, aha, I knew.
Got it. And then they'll be in a court of law, and I'll be like deposed or something like that to testify in the trial against Ryan Nash. Ryan, do you have any specific thoughts on Ersatz Memory?
I forget. Was this one of the earlier ones we wrote, or was this kind of like in the middle?
I think this was middle to late, or actually, it might have been our second last one that we wrote, actually.
Was it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or no, you're right. Third. So yeah, in the middle.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Ryan, introduce us to the album closer. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the closer on the record, Bulwark Against Time and Despair, which I've already alluded to, and David did a little bit as well.
Well, first of all, I love the title of that song. I love how Derek comes up. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. He's
smart guy.
Yeah, he is a smart guy. I wish he was here right now talking to us. He's a little shy.
I know. It's fine.
He
did G7 Radio and Escape Velocity for years and years, and his podcast output is out there if anybody wants to go find it.
Yeah, put in his podcast time.
He has.
That makes him like an original podcaster in some ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. He goes way back in the genre. I mean, it's he's great at it. It's just that's where he wants to leave his commentary and let his drums do the talking now, which I totally respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was this was one of the ones where I remember when I was kind of fiddling around with the bass line, I was in a weird headspace. My mom had some health issues, and it was kind of like just post holidays. And I was kind of like firming up some parts for some of the songs. And Yeah, it's another one. I spent a lot of time in the sunroom of my house, just sitting there with an iPhone, plunking around in the bass, and yeah, I think this is probably my second favorite song in the record, actually.
Do you want to reveal what your first favorite is?
My first is Ursus.
Okay,
Ursus, yeah.
nice. Um, David, what are your thoughts on Bulwark Against Time and Despair?
Um, this one started out so that riff that you were talking about earlier, that guitar part. Uh, a few years back, I had this idea. I wanted to write like a kids album,
Mm,
a kids album that's not meant for kids, so ostensibly for kids, but it's really for adults.
yeah.
And I had all this stuff together. I've since abandoned it. Maybe I'll come
Is
back
that
to it one day.
Spawn songs?
No, it's something different.
Okay,
Like
cool.
I had a whole story idea, and so this was uh, originally written for that. And I had this anyway. I won't go into it too much, but that when I decided like I don't think I want to do this anymore, I pillaged that part because I just really it's one of those parts that just kind of like I just sat down and it just flowed out. I don't
That's my
know.
it's my favorite lick on the entire record for guitar.
It's one of those riffs when you like I was writing it and like oh my god like this I've heard this before. Am I like what is it? And maybe I subconsciously took it from somewhere. I don't know, but I love that feeling when something just like comes out done, and
Yeah,
that was an example of that. And but then the band, the three of us, just really kind of structure that into this song. I think it's my favorite song on the record. I just love. There's a lot of parts on the record, but for me, it just really tells a story in a way that I'm really proud of. I'm proud of the way the three of us sculpted this particular song.
nice. Okay, cool. Now I want to know about Chris Hanna's involvement. So he mixed the record. Tell me a little bit about the mixing process and how Chris got involved, like what his thoughts and comments were. David, you want to go ahead and share that?
Yeah, we wanted him to because he's mixed a few of our stuff now, and we're always just really happy with the way it turns out. I hope the process wasn't too tedious for him. It probably was. This time around, there was a lot of back and forth. Like he'd do a mix, send it, and we'd send feedback, and there was just a lot of back and forth.
Mm,
Whereas it might have been more efficient just to sit in the same room and do it, but scheduling wise, with everyone's schedules, that wasn't feasible, I suppose. So I hope he wasn't made too miserable by the whole process. But speaking for myself, I'm so happy with the way it turned out. I've always trusted that man's ear. Like he just hears things I don't. But then when he presents something to me, whether it's a mix or a comment or whatever, it makes me hear it. You know, kind of like I learn from him constantly,
mm.
and this is no different. And just I love working with him. I loved working with him when I was in a band with him, and now lucky enough to continue in this small way with him involved with Agassiz mixes.
Nice. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on the mixing process with Chris?
Well, it's kind of cool because I know, like, I think Chris and JP work together on all the propaganda stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, the music is like he's kind of familiar with JP's recording style too. So it's like a really
Good point.
in terms of the recording and the mixing and everything. And Chris, it's funny because I feel like Chris takes this like different approach. Like when we're recording it, I have this vision in my head of how it's going to sound, and it's always like this like raw sort of, like dirty sounding or something like that almost. But then like Chris always presents this very like sort of crisp and clean version of the band, which I just think like for me, like in terms of like collaborating with somebody else and having them have some influence on the songs, it's like there's just something that he brings to it where there's like this, he brings out this clarity in all the instruments where like all of a sudden now you can hear everything individually, but you can still hear it kind of like working together as a group, which is really cool.
Mm.
I wish the guy would mix more records.
Yeah, I mean, and what's really cool too is the fact that like Derek and Chris have been friends for decades and decades at this point. They've collaborated on G7, they collaborated on Escape Velocity, so it's like just another level of collaboration in their decades-long friendship, which I think is just really cool as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
and
it.
also witnessing their friendship is always kind of a special thing. They have such a awesome rapport with each other, and they're hilarious together. Like they just riff off each other constantly, and it's just fun to sit back and watch the show that is Chris and Derek
Oh
together.
my God. Um,
Yeah.
You two might have different answers on this, but do either of you have like a song that was like the hardest one to nail in the studio? Were there any like horror stories that stand out from any of these tunes and recording?
Not for me. I always find like our process as a band, it's so easy.
Hmm.
That's one of the things I always loved that about this band is just like it's such an easy process. Like I've been in a lot of bands, and there's definitely been some times where you really struggle to like get it right or to get it to where you're happy with it. And I feel like I butt heads with people in bands that I'm in sometimes about what direction to take things or whatever. But yeah, this band always it's very easy. I don't know if everybody else feels the same way, but like for me anyway, it's just like things just come together, and I'm just always so happy with the end results. Like there's never any struggle involved in our music.
I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally agree. Then there's a lot of trust, I think, between the three of us. We all just trust that we'll be ready. And when we get to the studio, we've worked out all the difficult parts. I think, like we're at the point now. Like if something's too difficult to play, it's been altered by the time we get to the studio. So we're able to bang out takes pretty quick, relatively speaking, because we put in that time. I think all of our experiences being in bands and involved in music helps, because we know you can't just show up into a studio not prepared, because it costs a ton of money to be in the studio. You got to get in there and get it done. You spend your time fooling around in the jam space. That's where the mistakes are meant to happen, right? And you figure it out there.
Yeah. So are there any plans with this record as far as shows or vinyl LPs or anything like that? What is still in the works for you guys that you're kind of looking forward to?
We haven't really talked too much about any kind of physical releases. Yeah, we're a funny band. Like we don't play a lot of shows. We don't do a lot of the typical band stuff. I don't know if that's just a function of kind of where we're at in life, maybe, but yeah, we definitely don't. We're not one of those bands that's like we got to do like a record release show and all this kind of stuff. Like we just kind of like let the music happen and put it out there, and then get back to making new music. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll play a show at some point this year.
Well, we did that once. We did a record release once for Pulse 1A, and that was just not a very, speaking personally, maybe if everyone else agrees too, it wasn't a very pleasant experience. It was middle of February, coldest night of the year. It was like ridiculously like -35 kind of thing. Very sparsely populated show because it's so cold, and also we're kind of an unknown band. It's in one of those bars that would smell like a deep fryer. So I know I went home thinking like, why would I ever want to do that again? And I think after that show, we maybe only played one or two. We haven't played a show. I have not gone this long without playing a show in my entire adult life. It's been over 4 years now.
This is a shame.
So I'd really love to play.
4 years since we played a show?
Yeah, it was September of 2019.
Oh my God.
So I'd love to play a show again, but it's just got to be the right kind of thing, because I don't want to be up until 2 a.m. unless it's really worth it.
I keep saying we got to bring back the weekend matinee show.
Matinee, big time. Yep, I'm so down with this.
Yeah, because it's like I'm the same way. It's like the thing that kills me about shows. I remember actually getting into an argument one time. I was booking a show for one of my other bands, and I was like, "Can we start the show like an hour earlier? Like instead of doors open at 9, show at 10. Can we do can the music start at 9?" And the person who held it was just like, "No way, we can't do that. Nobody's gonna like that." But I think like for like people our age, it's like, what, like I'm over 40 here. You know what I mean? Like the whole like, we'll go on around 12:30, 1 a.m. It's like, man, I don't play my best at 1 a.m. I don't think anymore.
No. I'm down with that because I went to a show here recently where the music started at 6:30 and the headliner went on at 9, and the headliner played 45 minutes, and I was out the door at 9:45, and I actually got home in time to watch the second half of Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And
like I just went to the last show I went to was I went and saw Manine. They're doing a reunion tour of sorts, and they just played in Winnipeg recently. And it was the same thing. It was like, I think the show was over by 11 o'clock. And I was like, oh my God, like that's okay. That's good. I want to do that.
The way to go.
Yeah.
David, are you still working on Spawn songs at all?
Yeah, it's something I recently just released a song for my daughter. It's something I'll probably be doing it for years to come. Who knows what? Like, I have no plans for it other than it's just another outlet, and it's something I don't have to. I take it seriously in my house because it's like I think it's a kind of a nice little document to have of my family. And I made it public, and I don't really care what happens to it in the public sphere. It's more so just like, and it's a nice little outlet.
And are you still building tons and tons of lovely guitars?
Not tons, but yes, I just actually just delivered my most recent one yesterday. She came and picked it up, so definitely I want to do more of that. I've got some plans just to kind of change my approach a little bit. But that's what I love. Writing songs with these guys and being out in my shop making guitars is all I want to do. If somehow in life I can find a way to only do those things, oh my God, that would be like a dream come true. But anyways, I'm lucky that I'm lucky that I found these things that just feed me so much, and I get to do them. It's a good life.
Well, you're watching me do that exact thing that feeds me in that way by doing these types of conversations. Like making these episodes does that for me, just like building guitars does for you. So I love that we have all found our thing. And Ryan, what do you got going on besides Agassiz?
Well, it's been like I said, it's been an interesting year. I think the last time I talked to you, I was in 3 bands.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Agassiz, Union, Stockyards, and Agapito. And in the last year, we kind of folded up Union, Stockyards, and Agapito. And so now I'm just doing Agassiz, my only band. So I'm all in on Agassiz. And then I've been working on a bunch of solo stuff. Yes. I came up with this weird idea. Like I built a bit of a recording studio of sorts in my basement. And so I'll like record other people's bands sometimes, but most of the time it's just me goofing around working on music. And I came up with this weird idea that I'm like, I'm going to start a record label where all the bands are just me. So I can do so. And again, it kind of goes back to that theme of like just wanting to experiment with all kinds of different music. So I'm going to kind of do this thing where like every project, every band, quote unquote band on the label is going to be kind of in a different style or something that I like to do. And then I'm not even going to tell anybody that it's just all me. I'm just going to start putting out music.
It'll be like your own inside joke inside your own house. And
exactly,
you just get to just get a big kick out of it all by yourself.
As long as no one listens to this interview, because the cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan and David, Agassiz, new record, Pulse 1D from late 2023. It's brand new. I am delighted by this record. The comments that I've heard from it over on Patreon and, with the conversations I've had with people who enjoy your band, they're all enjoying it. Everyone's enjoying it. And I'm really hopeful that you guys are able to play a show or two. And, maybe next time Propaganda does shows in Winnipeg, I am hopeful to be in attendance like I was the last time they played in Winnipeg. So maybe if you guys get added to that bill, that would be extraordinarily convenient for me personally. So if you guys could just do that for me as a personal favor, that would be fantastic. But thank you so much, guys, for doing this, for this track-by-track breakdown of Pulse 1D. I loved hearing the stories of the creation process, the recording process, the gear overview, kind of what this band means to you. It's wonderful to have you both here on the podcast again as multiple returning guests. I appreciate your collaborations and all of your energy and for hanging out with me. So, David, thank you so much for being here. Ryan, thank you so much for being here as well. It's great to see you guys.
Absolutely. And I'm definitely going to steal that helium balloon idea from the cats.
It's wonderful. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on Unscripted Moments, a podcast briefly about Agassiz, but normally about Propaganda. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.